Hi everyone, my name is Parker Kelly. I'm an LIS student at Drexel University, and this week, as part of my series detailing media for teens, I'm going to be talking about a piece of manga that I personally really enjoyed, and that manga is The Guy She Was Interested in Wasn't a Guy at All by Sumiko Arai. It's also known as the Green Yuri, and this has been on my list to read for a very long time, so I was really excited to get the chance to spend some time with it this week. Let's get into it. So the Green Yuri is kind of really popular both in the West and in Japan right now, and the latest volume just released in February of 2025 in English, and so there's been a lot of buzz around it lately. But it's actually been a pretty interesting journey. I remember reading the original pages translated into English by just someone on the internet on the mangaka's Twitter in 2021. So it's been super phenomenal to see how the series has evolved from a weekly post from someone who I followed on Twitter into something that is world renowned and celebrated for how good it is. The Green Yuri is a Yuri manga, and if you're not familiar, Yuri manga tends to also be called girls' love. These are sort of usually romance novels or manga that are focused on lesbians and women who love other women. And they can be anywhere from very teen friendly to definitely very adult themes. And so I would recommend, if you're going to be launching into the world of Yuri after reading this one, you pay close attention to what kind of titles you're picking up, because there's a lot of different ideas and themes going on, and a lot of overlap with other genres in manga. The Green Yuri is one of my favorites because, as a lesbian myself, I love seeing representation on the page, and this manga has a lot of really great gender play. As you can tell from the title, the sort of core conceit of the manga is a mistaken identity. Aya, who's one of the main characters, regularly goes to a record shop or CD shop in her town after school and ends up crushing on the guy who works there. But she doesn't know that the guy who works there is actually the girl who sits next to her in class every single day at school, who happens to just look and dress a lot more punk and mask outside of school. So there's a really great butch femme dynamic that has layers of other gender things going on with it. My trans mask partner really loves Mitsuki, the butch character in this manga, and has felt like there's a lot of representation for people who are gender queer in some way as well. And I really enjoyed the way that the two characters really play off each other in terms of their interests and strengths and appearances and stuff. So like I said, the sort of core conceit of this is that Mitsuki and Aya bond over their love of Western music. A lot of their classmates don't like any Western music, and so they end up having a bunch of different encounters where they share playlists and talk about albums from rock bands from America, and even at one point to talk about going to what is very clearly a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, maybe a cover band perhaps. And so there's a really interesting dynamic at play where they are bonding over their love of music, and then things become more complicated for them as things happen in their personal lives and at school and stuff that make them more and more interlaced together. The first volume, which came out in October of last year, is the first three chapters. Currently, there's 9 that are published, and the first volume clocks in at about 180 pages, so it's a pretty brief read. It only took me probably 2 days to get through. And the art is really pretty, as you can see. The character design is really, really strong, and the paneling is awesome, which I think is part of the visual appeal of the novel itself. Also, it's all short form. Pretty much all of the story is told through basically 1 or 2 page shorter comics that make up the chapters. So you can kind of pick it up and put it down pretty easily. This series is also ongoing, which is pretty exciting. I've heard rumors that in the latest chapters they may even actually kiss, which is sometimes a rarity in Yuri manga, despite the fact that it's typically romance manga. So it'll be exciting to see how their relationship grows and changes as the new volumes are released in English. So ultimately, I rated the guy she was interested in wasn't a guy after all. 5 out of 5 stars. I think the setup is so dramatic. The like sort of secret identity component leads to a lot of really interesting ideas at play, and there's a really big question of whether or not Mitsuki should reveal that she knows that Aya is coming in to see her all the time because she's constantly overhearing her gossip to her friends. And I think that there's a lot of really cute little incidents that make the romance really compelling in this. It's also great, really well designed characters. Even though there's only a handful of them, every single one of them has such distinct personality, and it really does loan itself to having really good teen-friendly and teen-oriented beats. It has a lot of moments like you saw on the previous page where Mitsuki and Aya are trying to figure out their sort of personal identity and how they feel about romance and how to navigate school in balance with their love of music. Also, it's especially friendly to Western audiences since the sort of central part of their romance is related to Western music. And so you'll see a lot of bands and stuff on the page that you probably recognize because they're pretty big in the West. I also found out in the process of making this video that there are official Spotify playlists that match the ones that they make for each other. So I thought that was a really cute way to get involved beyond just reading. Ultimately, I think this is a great comic to pick up and put down, and like I said on the previous slide, there's just so much more story left to tell, and it's really exciting to see where they're headed. So that's all for my review for that guy she was interested in, wasn't a guy after all. Again, this is the cover, the Green Yuri, because of its signature green coloration. I hope you all look into it for yourselves, and I hope you enjoy if you do read it. Bye-bye!